I'm not gonna lie, but I am more hyped about the Division 2 than I've been in a while. And I don't do state of the game recaps, but this one was necessary. From the new SMG to the new gear and brand sets, to just how beautifully the new game mode called Summit looks. Oh boy. Welcome to episode 11 of Righteous Thoughts. And today, the Division 2 might have something to hold on to after all. Did they save it? I don't know, we'll have to see. Okay, there's a lot of info dished out to us today, which I did not expect. First of all, the game mode is not called Skyscraper, but Summit, which is basically a building that is under construction. Looks as if a skyscraper was being built in the midst of this whole pandemic that occurred. And so while progressing through these floors, you encounter all different factions. It makes sense because it's like they've been occupying this building that's been under construction. Oh my God. For those of you who love the Division 2 like me, it feels like a light in the darkness. I don't want to go too far, but this really looks promising. The gameplay looks so fun and challenging. So there's another skill they've introduced called the shrapnel trap. I saw this a while ago. Some people leaked it and I wanted it to come out so bad at that time, but it wasn't ready because they were saving it for TU11. It's a trap, which is a deploy skill that performs differently depending on how it's deployed. So when you quick throw it without aiming, it'll act like an offensive aggressive skill while getting rushed. But when aiming, it breaks off into multiple mines that'll stick you in place for a few seconds while it detonates. So you can use it as an area of denial skill, which is right up my alley. Wow, man, I really didn't expect all this, because next they showed the new gear set, which first of all, I got to give a shout out to the name, Hunter's Fury. That's awesome. The 2-piece bonus giving you shotgun damage and SMG damage. All right, I already thought of a build idea just from that alone. The 3-piece bonus gives you 20% armor on kill, 100% health on kill. Okay, could that mean that they're doing something with the health to make it viable? We'll just have to see. Then the 4-piece bonus is called Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, increasing your weapon damage against them by 20%. Killing a debuffed enemy with your weapon amplifies your weapon, then disorients other enemies within 5 meters, and amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times, which means the potential is 25% amplified damage. Alright, so now you know that certain talents and weapons will have to be nerfed before using this, otherwise you'll be unstoppable with this. You know, adrenaline rush, intimidate, you get the picture. So the exclusive chest piece talent that it comes with, you know, these talents, they just increase what the gear set already does. So the chest piece talent is called Endless Hunter, which increases the duration of Apex Predator from 10 seconds to 30 seconds. The backpack talent is called Overwhelming Force, and this increases the radius from 5 meters to 10 meters. This is looking so promising, and we're just scratching the surface, because they went on talking about the new pistol called the Card 45. Let me just say that this pistol is probably going to be meta in so many builds involving skills and hybrids, because what it does is that while holding it gives you +1 skill tier, which is crazy. Also, the new shotty called the 612, and it looks like it holds only 6 shells. That's cool. I mean, I want to see how it performs, because they didn't show any footage of this or the Card 45. And we all love exotics, right? So let's get right into the exotics. First of all, let's talk about this new SMG called the Backfire. Okay, this thing looks like an animal. When firing, builds stacks of crit damage up to 200%. Now, can you imagine? You already are OP when you stack 200% crit damage on your build. If this weapon could give you another 200%, that's crazy. But it has a caveat. When reloading, it applies bleed to you. And this bleed is dependent on how high the crit damage is at that moment. Kind of like Tenacious in a way from the Eagle Bear, because they don't want it to be too OP, so they add something to it that you have to pay attention to in order to be successful using the build. I mean, honestly, this is giving me almost the same excitement that I had for Warlords of New York, man. I just hope that they keep on supporting this game in a timely manner so we won't go through these dry phases that we've been through. Alright, the next exotic, oh man, when does it stop? This is an exotic backpack called the Memento. So awesome. It doesn't have any specific tier, but one of each. When killing an enemy, they drop a trophy that gives you a buff based on the majority of what tier you're mostly wearing. So if you have an all red build, that trophy will buff your damage by 30%. Same goes for skills and defensive tiers. So as they say, the ultimate hybrid exotic. Whatever you're wearing, it will complement that and give you a boost based on it. This backpack is an evolution of the Ninja Bike backpack from Division 1. It also gives you long-term bonuses from the trophies the enemies drop. One thing I gotta say, the Division has some very unique exotics. They just gotta work on the balancing, because most of these weapons and gear are made for PvE, and when you put PvP in the equation, it all goes into a cluster of chaos. Now we already have the tardigrade, right? That's a defensive exotic chest piece. This is the second chest piece that they are revealing, and this is the one that they're talking about is locked behind the quest from the summit. It's called Ridgeway's Pride. If you just damage an enemy, it applies bleed if you're within 10 meters, and the amount of enemies you hit within that 10 meters depicts how potent the bleed is, and that goes up to 25% from 5%. So it's 5% each enemy. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this, because you know I'm with the status builds and hybrid builds, and this looks like the perfect chest piece for me. Okay, the new brand set is a defensive one called Bellstone Armory. Very nice armory gen survival brand. This brand set will come with 2 perfect talents, perfect efficient and perfect bloodsucker. They're called the liquid engineer and everyday carrier. This is great because both of these talents are very underused, so it opens up for more viable builds people can use. Now I did say that most of the gear and weapons are geared for PvE, and when you throw PvP in the max, it just turns into a cluster of chaos. And Bruce Kelly, you know, he talked about PvP changes, a few of them, and they sound great, because the riot foam is pretty much AIDS in PvP, and so it's getting a nerf, and its duration is being reduced from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. At first I'm like, you know, that's not enough, but with the changes to mods and whatnot, how you're going to be able to have a 20% resistance mod, which by the way, they're adding foam resistance mod, so this isn't really going to be a big issue, because the mods are going to be agnostic, and you'll be able to put whatever mod type you want in your gear, whether it's defensive, offensive, or utility. So this is a great change. Firewall, the fire on armor break effect, is being removed in PvP. It's still remaining in PvE, and this is what I'm talking about. They should keep doing updates where they do different in PvE than they do in PvP. They can't conflate the two. That's where the balancing just gets thrown off completely. So this is great. And one thing I'm happy about, because I just put out a sniper build called Deadshot, and it was pretty much trying to compensate for the nerf that marksman rifles got, because I was trying to stack as much headshot damage and marksman rifle damage as I can so that it can be viable again. And so they said they're going to revisit the nerfs that they did to marksman rifles, pistols, and rifles. And what I'm excited about mostly that they're going to change in PvP is the fact that the shields are going to be able to take more damage in PvP, because sometimes those shields just get shredded. I'm talking about the bulwark, by the way. I mean, the Crusader shield seems to be fine with DPS builds, but the bulwark shield just gets shredded sometimes, and I think that requires some attention. So the PTS date is this Friday, which is 3 days away. We'll be able to test everything, pull up, because I'll be streaming that morning. Okay, so I know there's been a lot of people leaving the game as of late due to the lack of content and such, but it seems to me like this is a beacon of light. A lot of people were saying that Skyscraper or the Summit or whatever you want to call it is the make or break of Division 2. And I don't know where it's going to go from here, but we'll just have to see, because this just looks like a very good quality of life update. And let me know down in the comments what you think about all this information. I personally am very stoked about this, and I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. And I can't wait to show you what I have in store. So that's all I gotta say, and I'll see you live on the PTS this Friday. Be there. Be right out.